Hello, good evening, and welcome to the Fatback 4 for Sunday night, brought to you by MANSCAPED. I'm Gavin. With me, of course, I have got Grizz, I've got Keith, and I've got Seany Lawson. Liverpool 0, Manchester United 0 at Anfield earlier on this evening, and we're going to have a good look at this game. We're going to look at the lineups. Grizz is just laughing. I don't. What's so funny, Grizz?
I'm laughing at some of the comments. Our resident listener is saying, "Don't talk to me in capital letters." Well, why are you here, mate? Yeah, Stefan.
Okay.
Don't talk to me.
Okay, all right. No, but Stefan, of course, fucked up our syndicate bet by predicting 4-1 to Liverpool today. So that went out on its arse fairly early. But listen, we're going to look at the lineups. We're going to look at the tactics, the approach from both sides, the chances in the game, where the league standings are, where both teams are going, where we feel both teams are going this season, and anything else that comes up in the chat as we move along will absolutely be considered. Seany, I'm going to come to you first, and we go into this one on a bad run of form. Defensively, not too bad. Going forward, not good. And there's all the talk this week is, will Reece Williams play? Will Nat Phillips get the nod? Will Henderson play centre back? Is Matip coming back? And over the last 48 hours, there was varying reports on Matip, but he doesn't make it. And the team is Alisson, Trent, Henderson, Fabinho, Robertson. You have THIAGO, Wijnaldum, Shaqiri gets into midfield, and you have the front three lads as normal. And just to start with, Seany, that side, if Matip didn't make it, was the side that was going to turn up, wasn't it?
Yeah. Personally, I would have probably played one of the lads in there, centre back, either Phillips or Williams. But being honest, it's not an argument you could make after 90 minutes, because I actually think both of the lads did really well at centre back, and I don't think our midfield missed the influence of a Henderson this weekend, to be honest, because I thought the back four, barring Trent, were fine, and the midfield three were fine. Without pulling up any trays, I thought they were good. I just thought it's another week again where we've been let down by individuals, and it's the same individuals again. Now, I'm not going to go in two-footed here on any of them, because I think these lads have worked up enough credit in the bank over the last 2 or 3 seasons that, look, a slide was foreseeable in this side, especially with how the season has played out so far. I think we rode the wave of the injuries. I think we did well. I think he got results in big games. There was scrappy games and there was big performances. But it's starting to take its toll now. Trent just hasn't looked himself at all. Salah, since that interview, hasn't looked himself at all. And Bobby has been the Bobby, if we're being honest, we've probably come to know over the last season or so. So it's very, very frustrating, because the difference that Diogo Jota makes to this team would be massive. And he's not there at the moment. And it's just another weekend where none of our front players are willing to bail us out. So disappointing, very disappointing.
Yeah, I agree with you, and I disagree with you. I agree that I would have went something different at centre back. I don't know if I would have went with one of the young lads. I keep banging this drum for Wijnaldum to go in there, because I think Henderson has a massive influence on that midfield today if he's in there. They weren't bad, don't get me wrong, but I think he has a massive influence both on Salah and Trent, and I'll keep saying it until Henderson turns up on that right side of the tree, and then we see a difference that you will see, in my opinion. But I agree with you. Matip doesn't make it, and yeah, you probably could have put one of the young lads in, maybe.
Gav,
but
I get what you mean about Trent being affected by Henderson, but he's still getting the ball in the same positions he normally gets. It's just his distribution is not there. The quality's not being there. I said it. I made a point on the podcast and in the group that one of the biggest features of our play is that switch. We've done it once against Newcastle and we get in. It happens once today and we get in. We just seem to have abandoned it. It's pretty clear why, because we're afraid of our life of counters now. But it's the biggest feature of our play that we're missing. And we made fucking Luke Shaw look like a prime cafe today. It's so frustrating. It's so frustrating for years and years. For the last 2 years, teams had to be fucking on it to get something against us, and it's not even the case anymore. It's so frustrating.
Yeah, you see, but what I'd say to you is, like, he does get the ball, and it is probably a distribution issue. But what I'm seeing in Trent, and to a lesser extent Robertson, I'm seeing a little bit of hesitancy, hard to say, in them. And what I mean by that is they seem to be trying stuff earlier in the move than they usually would, because they're kind of hanging back a bit because they know it's a makeshift back four. You know, that way. And maybe they're under instruction to do that. And I think that's an effect. I just think, and I could be completely wrong, but I would love to see, if you needed to go to it, I'd love to see Wijnaldum go into centre half. I'd love to see THIAGO play as the deepest man, because it doesn't matter that he's deepest. He'd be far up the pitch against the vast majority of sides. I'd love to see Henderson on the right hand side, and let's see what happens with Salah and Trent. And whoever you want to put on the left hand side, I'm absolutely fine with, because Manning and Robertson worked their socks off, so it's easier to integrate a player in there. Grizz, and I'm sure we get into it a bit more later, but Grizz, you know, Matip doesn't make it. You know, and I was a bit annoyed. I'm annoyed around Matip anyway, but I was a bit annoyed because I seen Martial struggle against Burnley the other night, and they were like, I don't think he'll make it, and he makes it. You know, and I'm looking going, surely if has Martial even trained and he's made it, and here's Matip, who supposedly was going to train or whatever and doesn't, but we're left with this side. Were you comfortable enough with it? Because Shaqiri was another wild card for me.
Yeah, no, it was a surprise that he went with Shaqiri, kind of. Especially where he ended up playing him. Sorry, the selection of Shaqiri wasn't a surprise to me, but where he played was a surprise to me, Gav. And in that, I remember you asking me in the WhatsApp, and we said, how do we think we're going to set up? And I genuinely thought we're going to set up with a double pivot of THIAGO and Gini with Shaqiri, a more floaty role. But he was asked to play as a third midfielder, in effect. And I think that hampered Trent even more. There was a few occasions where you could see Mo sort of trying to direct Trent to go on the overlap, and you know, Trent sort of refusing to go. I think, you know, I think the position of Shaqiri surprised me slightly. I mean, he done well, fair play to him, especially in that opening half an hour. I thought he was very prominent. I thought he was getting in between the lines, but you know, you could see in the second half his legs started to go. But yeah, overall, the team, it was the best players we've got available, basically, and to put them on the pitch, and then see how we go from there, kind of thing. And it started off really well. The first 30 minutes, I thought we're on this, but again, kind of fizzled out like the previous 3-4 games.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Keith, when you look at that side, like, I was surprised Shaqiri was in there. I'm being on, like, he's played, I don't know how many, you could add not much minutes, okay? Like, I think if you're going to play a Shaqiri, I don't know why you don't play a Minamino, who's more fit, who'll last longer in the game, and he's very much a player like Shaqiri that you're looking to get into little spaces and you know, pick out passes and stuff like that. But Shaqiri gets the nod. But is there an argument, and this is probably a bit in hindsight, Keith, is there an argument that you need to do something with this front three and just go, listen, I'm just dropping one or two, and that's it? I'm just going to have to. Now, that people will show hindsight, but it's proven over the last 3 or 4 games that something's just not right. There's too many touches and stuff like that. Would you have welcomed, I suppose, if Mane didn't start and he played a Minamino, something along them lines?
Well, I thought Mane was the only one that looked anyway decent out of them.
Well, maybe that's
I take your point.
I
take your point like that. Yeah, you'd rest one of them. On the Shaqiri point, I thought Shaqiri was even second half was one of our best players. Was trying to get in them little half spaces and was trying to roll balls in. He was trying the clever little pass in all the time. And we nearly got in a couple of times, you know what I mean? Like, we don't have that type of player in the team. Now, I think there has to be a situation now where he has to seriously look at dropping 2 of that front three.
Well, for who?
For Shaqiri and Minamino. Shaqiri, Minamino, Mane against Burnley. Sean, he has to do something. Bobby, and I'm a huge Firmino fan. I'm a huge
Them boys
Firmino
are not going to get better sitting on the bench.
No, they're not, but they have to get, I think they have to get taken out of the firing line. I think Shaqiri has earned a start, right? Well, maybe not, maybe taking 2 of them out was too drastic, but I think Shaqiri has earned, I thought Shaqiri was very good today.
Yeah, I thought he was good. I did, and it's great to see one of our midfield players trying that. I don't mind. One of the biggest criticisms of Bruno Fernandes is that he gives the ball away a lot. Well, I don't mind that, because if he creates 4 or 5 key chances in a game, I don't care how many times he gives the ball away.
Yeah, if you're throwing risky passes, you're going to give her away.
Shaq tries a lovely little ball in the second half. It just doesn't come off. There's not enough on it. It's between the centre-back and the full-back. He tries them types of things. And
there's no one else that does.
But exactly.
That's the thing, isn't it?
And anyone else that we does have it is never fucking available.
Yeah, but
you know,
you make a point there about, you know, and I agree with you. They don't get better sitting on the bench. They are the sort of players that just play their way back into form. I think the biggest thing is that they won't get better on the bench. I agree with that. But the biggest thing for me with this front three is that they have nobody pushing them. Nobody. Because, like, Divock Origi is not pushing them, and he's never going to push them, okay? Minamino plays well against Palace, isn't seen since. Barely, right? I think the FA Cup, I think. And everyone else around them, like, they just know they're going to play. And
is that on Klopp? Is that on Klopp?
Oh, well, it is on Klopp. It is on Klopp. But I think that's... I agree with Shawnee. Dropping them... listen, you could arguably take 1 out of the 4 in line. I think 2 might be a bit much, but you could take 1 out and say, listen, we're giving you half an hour against Burnley near the end, or whatever it might be, and just freshen it up a bit. Maybe to freshen it up a bit, and maybe to just give them a little bit in their head going, oh, fuck, he's dropping me here. You know, now... that'll be jumped on, because if it was Mo Salah, it's like, oh, that's because of the interview, and that's because of this, and there's all sort of shit goes on around it. But someone says, like Ramirez says there, 10 shots on target in 4 games, 3 points from our last 12, and we haven't scored in 350 minutes. We could have played till next week without scoring. We're currently on a rancid run. I don't know how we get out of it. Keith, how do we get out of it? Do we keep playing them? Do we change something up? Do we change formation? What do we do?
We have to have faith. Klopp has to have faith in these lads. You know, this is a bad run, but it's the first bad run we've had in Blade in, the best part of 2 years? Maybe the run to the Champions League final, then the 97-point season and a Champions League win, then the push for a league title. And it hasn't been right since we've come back. We all know it hasn't been right. The team hasn't been right. And people can throw this stat about Mo Salah being the top scorer in the league. Mo Salah is not playing well. Right, and that is a fact. He is not playing well. I don't care that he has 13 goals or whatever he has. He is not playing well. Now, another thing, the right-hand side of our team is not functioning because Trent is not playing well. And we talk about the attack not working. You have to include the fullbacks in this because they're a huge part of our attack. Right. Andy Robertson is playing as well as he can play. Trent is not doing it. Now, whether it's down to an issue that he's had COVID and he doesn't have the engine, because there was a point in that game in the second half that United broke down that side and Curtis Jones had to get back and cover, and Trent was sauntering back after him. The young fella doesn't look like he has anything in the tank at the moment. And we haven't got an option. We haven't got an alternative. Or if we have, Klopp needs to be creative because Nico Williams maybe isn't ready for that. Maybe it's an Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain playing at right full or something like that. I think there needs to be a few players, and it might sound extreme. I think we have to start making changes and using the squad more. It's the biggest criticism of Klopp is not using the squad.
Yeah. And I bring that back to the summer gap because what's the fucking point of Origi and Minamino if you don't trust them? He obviously doesn't trust them. And now he's in a situation where he doesn't trust either Williams or Phillips because he's had to play in Henderson centre-back in the last 2 league games. So we've left ourselves short here. Now, I understand COVID and stuff like that. And I think in the summer when we done our business, everyone said that's the required business. But I think everybody was in agreement that Origi was past the sell-by date. So why wasn't he fucking moved on and replaced? So why wasn't that done? This is in hindsight, but I think we all knew with Origi. Now, Minamino was brilliant in pre-season and has a right game against Palace, and I don't think he's got a run out since. So if there's a change to make, I'd whip Bobby for Minamino. I wouldn't be making wholesale change. Salah is definitely a type of player that plays himself into form, but there's nobody to fucking go in there for him. Because Origi comes on and he doesn't even...
Oh, listen,
So can they not see this?
Well,
there's no point in having these players.
Yeah, the one thing I would say is, and before I do, Hudson co-creator says the front three looks shot. I'm not going to lie, there's a lot of minutes in those legs. I fear all of them have peaked and are now on a downward trajectory. Big few months of them. I wouldn't go that far. I would. For all three of them. The long COVID stuff is being mentioned. Trent looks like he has it, says somebody there. Sorry, the name escapes me. He said, look, lads, I've had it. It absolutely drains you. I'll try find that comment in a minute. But, like, I don't want to get too overreactionary here because I'm sitting here and I'm quite comfortable of the position we're in. I'm not happy with how we're playing, don't get me wrong, but I'm quite comfortable because I'm looking around going, if there's long COVID issues, if there's definitely injury issues, there's a drop in form. And it just seems to be a perfect storm at the moment. A drop in form, people had COVID coming back, there's big injuries going on, you know, we've had them at bad times, and it's a perfect storm, and I still look and go, 4 points off the top halfway through, I'm absolutely fine with that. But you still have to discuss the games that you've seen, not only today, but over the last couple of weeks. I will hold my hands up, and people call me a super fan or a top red, or whatever the fuck goes, whatever the kids are calling it nowadays. I'm still looking, because I seen this when Van Dijk went down, and particularly when Gomez went down, that we're going to have to stick in this till the end of January. That was always my thing in my head. So I am quite comfortable in the position we're in. I'm not comfortable with the way we're playing. And I think before we get into the actual game, on Salah, watching him, I think he's shot of confidence. I don't think there's a lack of effort there. I think he's shot of confidence, and I think the system we're playing, or the way we're trying to alter what we're doing, I think is affecting him badly. He has a chance, and we get into the game, but he has a chance where he breaks down the left-hand side, first half, and he has Maguire on toast. He just go with him. And he tries to go inside and the fumbles around, Firmino gets a shot, and I'm thinking, Mo, you just shift that outside your left, and the speed you have, you're shifting and hitting it, and Harry Maguire's getting nowhere near you. And that for me epitomised the lack of confidence. So it could be just a confidence thing where he needs to play in. But Grizz, you're saying that point there about him being on a downward trajectory. How much do you agree on it? And when I say that, I mean, how many of them do you agree on?
I think we have to remember that we've had the best 3/4 years of these same three guys, week in, week out, playing in a Klopp team, playing in a Klopp system with the intensity Klopp asks you to play, with the running that he asks you to do, even though you're a forward, and that goes for everyone, including Salah. Salah may not make the most runs backward, but he definitely makes the most runs forward to make up for those the backward running. Mane, we know. Bobby, we know. I don't want to. I know we played Man United today, but we have to talk about a manager who's reinvented teams in the past, and talk about Sir Alex Ferguson. And he didn't give a shit about sentiment. Sorry, don't know why I said there, but he didn't give a shit about sentiments. He didn't give a shit about what they've done for him in the past. He was cold when it came down to it. When he needed to change something, when he knew he's got the best years out of a certain player, he knew when to shift them on. I'm not saying it's a downward trajectory for all of them, but what I am saying is I most certainly think we've seen the best years of all of them. None of those three will top the seasons that they've had. And that's the important thing for me. We have to look at that somehow. Jota was bought strategically for that very purpose. It just so happens we're fucking so unlucky that the two-part plan of our evolution, THIAGO and Jota, have missed the majority of the season. That's just bad luck. Maybe Klopp and the coaches knew that we've seen the very best of the front three and we will need something different. And that's why THIAGO and Jota was brought in. And we saw that sort of, take place in the first few weeks where Jota was superb. THIAGO started off superb and then got injured. We know the history. So if you ask me, are they all on a downward trajectory? I couldn't give you analytics right now at the top of my head to find out if their running powers are down, if their pressing's down, if everything's down. But in my opinion, just from the eye test, I don't think we will see them peak. I think they've reached their peak, and that's the important thing. We have to think about the going forward in our future. It doesn't matter what Salah's done for us. He's a legend for us. Absolutely. Will go down one of the greatest forwards in this club's history. But there's something not right there. And I think personally, it's more than just confidence and form. I think he's upset a few people. This is just my opinion. I think he's upset a few people in the squad, the way he's handled himself. And I think even a 2-3% drop in performance in anything makes all the difference. And that's what we're seeing now. It's that 1-2% we're short. It's that one goal we're away in every game. And it makes a massive difference.
Okay, we're not a team of superstars. We're a machine. And if any part of a machine doesn't work, that the machine is fucked.
Good point.
And well, we do have, don't get me wrong, we have exceptional
Sorry,
players.
there was a noise there. I thought Grizz was going into a round of applause for Keith. Go on, Keith.
It would have been a well-deserved round of applause. But no, it's
Self-praise,
like,
no praise.
some teams, right? Some teams can afford this and we'll just plug in a superstar, and if it works, the Real Madrid's Galacticos. They won things without really having a system. It was just get the best players in there. Man City can plug in players and can keep players. We don't. We have a machine that needs to be oiled and needs, everybody working. And that's how we got to where we are now. If that's not working, and you've got, I'd say, look, again, huge Bobby Firmino fan. We've seen the best of Bobby Firmino. There's no way Bobby is going to make a comeback. There's too many miles in his legs, I think. There's too many Klopp miles in 100%. Bobby. Mo Salah, I think Grizz is spot on there. I think something's happening in the background there, and there's a trust thing is a problem there between him and certain players, or even the management. I think Mane can still produce. The thing I think Mane could be suffering with is the Trent issue, because if Trent's whipping balls in, he's whipping them over to that side, and he's not getting the deliveries in. Robbo's pinging balls across to the other side of the attack. But Mane is the one that's suffering. It's nearly all coming on Mane every game to try and make things happen. And he's not in the best of form himself. But I think he's the least of our worries. I think the other two certainly, but, they all have to be at it. And if we have to replace them, I know the dream is we sign an Mbappe, or we sign a Haaland, or we sign a this, that, or the other. We have to sign players that'll work in the system. And it's easier said than done. So I don't know how we do that. I don't know what we do. I'm not an expert. I don't know what we do. Just give me an opinion.
All right, plus batteries, £5 super chat. He says donation for Keane. I've noted that. Thanks a million. He says, at what point do we start to focus on the top four? This narrative, it's not our defence, it's our attack. Our engine is used at centre back, and there's a knock on effect. I think that's a very, very good point. I'm going to put this one up. Duolingo says 2 weeks ago we were still top. Now it's only 4 points behind. Our play is pathetic. Where does this arrogance come from? 2 good seasons, lol. Yeah, they were probably that was probably lol. That was probably me, Dull, that says that. I'm hoping you're pronouncing your name right. But that's probably me that said it, and I said it with the context that I could kind of see this coming. Since October, I knew we were going to hit something. We're going to hit the buffer somewhere, because it's very hard, even with the side that we have fully fit. It's very hard to keep up the sort of form we're looking for and we expect based on the last 2 seasons you speak about. But when you lose those, when you have games every fucking second day, and you also have injuries and players affected, it was always going to happen. Could it end up being, now Dull will go mad when I say this, but could it be a blessing in disguise that the players missing, the COVID stuff and the lack of form is all at the same time? We're just getting it out of our system, and you never know, we come back stronger at the end of the month. I don't know, but I seen this coming, and look, I'm not fucking, Mystic Meg, but anyone looking at this go, and Shawnee said it loads of times, we've rolled it a little bit, and now it's starting to hit us a little bit, and it's how we react, and it might take another game, it might take another 2 games, and you turn around and you go, lads, we're 7 points off the top here with 15, 16 to go, what are we going to do? It could take that, but we'll have to wait and see. Let me see.
And by the way, our play is pathetic. I mean, that's a bit. We're in a rut. We're in a bit of bad form. Our play is pathetic. It's a bit ridiculous. Everyone's entitled to the opinion. You know what I mean? But
I disagree exactly. I do disagree with that, because our play was fantastic in that first 30 minutes. Yeah. I've had a quick chance to quickly look back at the first 30 minutes, because it's probably the best we've played since the Spurs game in that first 30 minutes. But again, it was just absolute total lack of confidence in the forwards, and then it emanates into our fullbacks. I know you mentioned Robbo played really well. I don't think he played really well. Yeah,
he did, but his delivery was off on more than one occasion when he got in there. He did put a couple of crosses in, but yeah, I agree. But he was still bombing up and down, and he was still the outlet.
The energy was there, but this is my point when it comes to Trent, Salah, and as Gav always talks about that right side, whoever that right-sided midfielder is in that 3, and it so happens to be Shaqiri this game, who I totally agree with. I think you and Sean said, or I think you said definitely, that he was so good on the ball. He was so creative. He was so forward-thinking when he was on the ball. But slowly but surely, he started struggling on the way back, and that's why they were getting a lot of success of threat, like sort of breaks down that side. Now it's also noticeable. And look, we can talk about conspiracy theories and whatever, but you know, Mo had a moan in that interview, and one of his moans was about Trent being captain. Now you can see that something's not right there because they are not playing as a partnership like they used to. They are not. There's no understanding. There's no talking going on there. There's a lot of gesturing, but as you see on the other side, Robbo and Mane constantly communicate. Genie constantly communicate. Mo is playing his own game. Trent is playing his own game. This is just my opinion, and as a result, they're both out of form.
Well,
and there's absolutely no teamwork. There's absolutely no. There is something 100% there, and this is on Klopp to deal with it and sort it out, however that may be.
Dinesh Karai, kick racism out of sports. I'm just going to call you Dinesh from now on, if that's okay. Evening, gentlemen. Can we move Andy Robertson to left centre back with Matip and Tsimikas as fit to play Fabinho and Henderson missed in the midfield? I just think signing a centre back just solves your problems. It really does. It solves your centre back problem and it solves your midfield problem in one absolute go. This one, Kieran Thorne. Now, people are going £500 super chat. It is a £500 super chat, but this is on the donation for Keane. That Kieran started this whole campaign. Well, he didn't start the whole campaign. We started the campaign, and Kieran messaged us and said, "I'm putting £500 up." That's his £500. He's actually come out and put it up there right away. So fair play to him. He says, "Gav, that sorts us out. We win as a team, draw as a team, lose as a team. Tired of the negativity. Whatever we achieve, this team has done is outstanding." Kieran has put that £500 up, and between me and him, we've picked out 2 prizes to put forward for this raffle. That will happen. I'm actually I'm taking pictures of all the prizes this week, and I will be doing a thread on Twitter and possibly a small video on YouTube to let people know how it goes. But literally, it's probably going to cost you a £5, and you're going to end up in about 25 draws for all different sorts of memorabilia. So it's going to work out well. But lad, I want to get into the game. As much as some people don't, I do want to get into it. We've talked about Liverpool, we've talked about the team, we've talked about, our approach, the way Shaqiri, where he played and stuff like that. But Shawnee, I'll come to you, because you said to me before the game, United fans are going fucking mad here because Lindelof starts over Boy. I'm gonna say it out straight, Shawnee. I think they picked the wrong side. I think they approached this game wrong, and I think they probably showed that if it comes to the end of the season, if they're not in a title race and they don't get close to it, this sort of approach is what's done them.
Yep, 100%, Gav. Nail on the head. Any team looking with aspirations to win the league title has to be winning that game today and going for it. United fans, I'm sure there's a few of them in the chat. They're probably not as vocal as they were the other night, but I'm sure they're looking there somewhere. This is the reason why they won't be there near the end, because I'm telling 100%. You now, a top side turns us over today. That sports side punishes us today. City punish us today. We weren't great. The first half an hour, great in possession, but we didn't create a lot. I think De Gea has to make one save from THIAGO through the 90. I don't class just possession and side to side as being great. I thought the midfield were good. Thought that we defended well, barring Trent. Just the front three, it's 2 or 3 touches too many. These are players that they're so skillful and so instinctful that we've come so used to them playing off instinct, and it's just not happening at the moment. They seem to be doubting and second guessing themselves, and it's a point that Grizz made there that I never really thought of. I think there is too much football in the legs. This is a problem that we thought was going to come around last year, but it's really starting to show now. And look, it's hard to say whether what happened outside the pitch really is affecting Salah, because he could score 3 on Thursday night, and this all looks like a lot of hyperbole bollocks. But we can only go on the sample size of the last 4 games, and he just hasn't been good enough. Either has Firmino, and Mane hasn't really helped himself either. We haven't taken our chances. I think XG is a lot of wank, but if you look at XG, these are games that we should be winning. We are creating enough chances to win games. We created enough chances to win at Newcastle. We created enough chances to get back into the game at Southampton, and we created enough chances to get something there today. But we just didn't take them. We're not clinical. And we're in a bit of a rut here that we're in the 2 or 3 years of this front three being the best in Europe. There's always one of them to bail each other out. Salah will chip in. Bobby can chip in. Like last year at Wolves, Mane goes off. Salah's thinking they got fouled. Bobby comes up with the goods, gets the winner. Neither of them helping each other now. Now, whether that's got to deal with stuff off the pitch or they're just not in a good moment, it's unfortunate. This has been a season of unfortunate events. Whether you go to Gomez, Van Dijk, Jota, decisions not going our way. If we're being honest and looking as a whole, taking everything out, take your Liverpool glasses off for a minute, with injuries considered and the performance levels considered, I think we are where we should be. Maybe not behind the United and Leicester. I don't think we should be top of the league. Well, I don't think we're playing championship winning football. And this is in a season where I think...
Do you think anyone is, Shawnee?
No, I don't. I've been saying this when City were 7th and 11 points off the top. I said in October, people were just glossing over them. They had games to play. And the one thing I always remained steadfast on was that I think besides ourselves, City are the only team capable of winning 7 or 8 in a row and really putting that sort of chain together. Now, we don't look like anywhere near doing that at the moment, but they're starting to do that, Gav, and that's my worry. I think whoever gets out in front here won't be caught. That's my thoughts on it. I feel that when Goodison Park happened, I didn't adjust my expectations on where we were going this season. I didn't foresee Gomez getting injured. I didn't foresee Mane being out with COVID, Alisson getting injured. We've just been desperately unlucky. We're missing so many key components in the team. For example, imagine United had to play McTominay and Matic there at centre back today. Yeah, exactly. Imagine.
Well, that's the context behind it all.
Yeah, and Gav, this isn't an excuse. People are saying we're using injuries as an excuse.
No, well, not really, because
excuse is something you turn to when it's just not quite going your way. But
no,
I think reality at the moment.
I think if Matip and Gomez, if Gomez and Van Dijk are injured and you're playing Matip and Fabinho constantly, and then you're crying about it, that's definitely an excuse, because they're the centre halves that you've gone with. Now Fabinho, you could argue a little bit because he's a midfielder, but he's clearly the 4th choice centre half, and he's had to be used. And if we're comfortable with that going into the season, and we have to use it with Matip for 38 league games, and we don't win a league, you can't turn around and go, oh, well, we hadn't got Van Dijk and Gomez. Yeah, but you had the other squad members. So, but when you start doing Fabinho and Henderson, and Fabinho and one lad that was in the Stuttgart second team last season, and another fella that was a Kidderminster or whatever, then you can kind of go, well, look, that's a bit weird. Can I ask you all a question though, because I'm getting a vibe here that I'm going to say it. I think you're writing some of these players off a bit early. For argument's sake, can I just? I'm going to put this scenario to you all, right? And Grizz, I'll come to you first now. We not even sign a centre half, right? Let's say we sign a centre half, right? And I leave Fabinho there, and I put a centre half in, and I get Henderson, THIAGO, and Ronaldo in midfield. Do you still think after 6 games you would have the same opinion that these are on a downward trajectory, and this is nothing to do with players and a knock-on effect throughout the pitch? Because I get the feeling that it's a bit reactive because of what they've achieved in the past. I think there's a lot of reasons for what's going wrong here. But Grizz, if I give you a centre back and I get Henderson into midfield with THIAGO and Ronaldo in the front three, do you still come back to me in 6 games time and go, no, they're on a downward trajectory?
No, I didn't say they were on the downward trajectory.
Yeah,
what
you did.
Said was,
No, you did.
Okay, what I said was they've reached their peak. I don't think they'll have.
No. I read out a comment that said I fear they're on a downward trajectory, and you said I agree.
Oh, right, okay. I said this in the summer. You can't come back to me and say it now. I said it to you on the summer that I think, we won't ever see the likes of Salah and Mane and Bobby have the seasons they've had. And so eventually there will have to be a plan in place to replace these whether it's one at a time or two at a time. Now, if you're giving me the scenario that you've given me, then it's very difficult to gauge where we'd be in the table right now. But I can certainly say we'd be high. We'd have more points on the table if that's what you're asking.
So your opinion would change. Is what I'm trying to ask.
My opinion, it's very difficult to say we'd have more points. But with regards to the individuals,
if we had Van Dijk and Gomez, if we had Van Dijk and Gomez right now, we wouldn't be having this conversation about downward trajectory and selling these players and getting rid of them.
But it's a consequence of. But it's a consequence of. And B, there's two different questions you're asking me here. Are you asking me, would we be in a better position as a team and more points on the board?
No, I'm just saying because we've had a couple. I'm asking the question because we've had a half dozen bad games, right, or close to it, and now we're sitting here on a Sunday night saying downward trajectory. That's the sort of stuff we're using. We're using downward trajectory. We're using this fella's upsetting people. He's not playing well. You won't see the same again. And we're basically starting to write players off a little bit for me. But if this, I believe, if we had the players that we should have, you would never be having this conversation. So is it just reactionary to the problems that we have that we're starting to write players off? That's the only question I'm asking. And I'm not trying to be a prick about it.
No, I understand what you're saying, and that's how usually fan opinion works. Mm-hmm. It's usually based on a set of games in front of you, and you react to it. So that's how it works.
Okay. Battery says Fab and Ali were brilliant. He puts an emoji, but ref blowing too early. What do you make of it? I want to get onto that. Keith, it was a point made in the WhatsApp group earlier on where they said, why are we being flagged immediately and they're allowed to run in and play all their forward stuff and then be told they're offside? Did you notice that? Because I didn't. I was kind of going, why are we being pulled quick here and they're allowed to play on?
It was ridiculous. Now I don't know if that was down, and certainly in the first half, whether that's the linesman that was up there and was flagging straight away, so the ref was whistling, and the other fucker was leaving his flag down. But there was instances where United were allowed to attack. And look, that's this little shitty rule they've brought in that you play on. And I don't know why. Like there was one that Rashford was a good 5 yards offside, and he played it away, and it nearly went to a second phase, and we got the ball and we're breaking, and the flag went up. There was 2 or 3 times that the flag went up when we'd got the ball back. But when it was the other way around, it was a strange performance. I think he's a blatant brutal ref, but I think they're all brutal, to be totally honest with you.
Exactly, which one isn't?
You know, I think they're all absolutely garbage.
I don't think he was a talking point today, though, do you?
I'm fucking sure he was. That half-time thing was a talking point.
Yeah, but...
That was one of the worst decisions I've seen, to be honest with you. I thought that was a criminal decision to blow that up 5 seconds earlier. We sound petty saying that 5 seconds earlier. When does that ever happen? When does that ever happen? It's a minimum of 1 minute added on, and he blows up 5 seconds when we're on a ball over the top and Mane is clean. So look, Mane mightn't have scored, but what's he blowing the whistle for? What's he blowing the fucking whistle for?
Maybe so.
Just a scandalous decision.
Okay, I've been putting my box there. Jonathan sends in a super chat and says nothing. He's completely speechless. Olivier sends in a super chat. He says for Keane, which is great. We have been a forward short for 2 seasons. The Origi, Bobby spot in the squad is the problem. Jota is another in the mould of Mo and Sadio, but we need a number 9 who's physical and scores.
The big thing with Jota is something that Shawnee touched on when we were saying about, you know, players, we're making all these chances and we're taking them, and I know Shawnee has said this in the past. Jota shoots very instinctively and very quickly. He doesn't fanny about with it. The ball comes when he gets a shot away, and that's something that we're not doing at the moment, and that's what we're crying out for.
Jota runs from deep in behind, and none of the other 3 do that. Mao loves getting the ball and playing a little a wall pass off, but or whatever. And Sadio normally stands you up, do you one-on-one. They just haven't been doing it.
It's a total dynamic that we're missing. And I know it's easy.
There's loads of facets of airplay that are off at the moment. The fullbacks being just that switch. That's one of the things I loved about watching this team. It's gone. I'm going to keep saying it until I'm blue in the face. It's gone. I can understand why it's gone. Like, we're suffering completely now because of personnel. It's all got to do with personnel. Just our midfield's not functioning how it should be because we've had to have lads at the centre back, and then the 2 fullbacks aren't able to just do what they want because they haven't got the insurance policy of Gomez and Van Dijk. They're like 2 of the quickest centre backs around. And then another facet of the play is that teams want to press us, you give the ball to Van Dijk and he hits a 70-yard Rager onto Mao's toe, and then you're out. You got them. They're turned. You're automatically taking their midfield and the forwards out of the game, and you're springing on them. That's been gone.
With the likes of Virgil and Matip, especially Virgil and Matip being missing as well, a very important facet that we've not touched upon and thought about. How many times last season where maybe we weren't playing as good as we can and maybe the play wasn't as fluid, but we'd get a set piece and we'd score from corner, free kicks and everything. And we don't do that. We absolutely have zero. And I know Shawnee we were chatting in the WhatsApp and I was telling, he was like, Shawnee was going mad about the short free kicks we were taking near the end of the effing game. And I said to him, but I said to him, it's an actual insecurity in us. We're subconsciously scared of being countered. You know how we counter teams from their corners because we had such brilliant players in the air and we'd break on you from your corner. Well, we're suffering as a result of that because we're not winning. We don't even look like scoring from a set piece or corner. Our tallest players, I think Henderson maybe today, or Fabinho maybe, Henderson or Fabinho, one of them two. And they had about 3 or 4 6-footers in there. And we're playing short corners because we're actually subconsciously or maybe consciously aware that they can attack us on the break. Because they had, in the second half, going back to Shawnee's earlier point about United, I thought his game plan was spot on. I think they worked towards trying to get a few breaks and they had them in the second half. And if it wasn't for a magnificent keeper, they'd probably walk away with 3 points there. No one anticipated them playing the 4 midfielders all together. Everyone said he's going to drop Pogba maybe, or
he was never going to drop Pogba.
Well, a lot of Man United fans thought they're going to. He may change.
But that's because he had this inane belief. Go on, okay, yeah.
Or maybe play 5 at the back. That was a very prominent opinion that he may revert to 5 because he has been doing that in the big games. So I think credit to United. I know we don't like saying it, but they done what they had to do. For them, it was a very positive point. For us, it was a negative point, and that's the way it is.
Can anybody give a context on Klopp's comments there? That's worrying.
Which ones?
I'll tell you. I'll read them.
We're looking for the top 4.
Just before you do, Shawnee, James says Bobby looks shot physically. The legs and his ability to press has now diminished. The eyes do not lie. The rest still have a couple of seasons left in the tank, in his opinion. I have got Klopp's comments there with regards. He says he knows his job. Something along these lines. He knows his job. I
know what I have to do. I have to qualify for the Champions League, and I know how difficult that is. That means this season will be a tough race for the top 4. That is for sure. I knew it always. It was always clear. That sounds a bit like expectation management to me, and that sounds a bit like I could be reading into this way too fucking much here. But this could be his way of kind of saying to the owners, "I'm not going to win a title unless you give me the bodies I need. I'll try to get you top 4." That's what it seems like to me. That's shocking coming from him because it does seem a little bit defeatist for me. Only halfway through the season. Now, I could be completely wrong and being irrational here because I'm still fucking fuming over the game, but I don't get what the story is with that comment.
You have to take it in context, and you'd have to hear the way it was asked, wouldn't you? I suppose.
Yeah, you have to hear the whole. Yeah, because last week.
One way and
Yeah, last week there was comments about Manchester United and penalties, and when you read the actual, or you seen the whole thing, it was completely different to what we've seen. Pat Benatar, obviously, Pat Benatar as we know him, or him or her, we still don't know, do we? We keep doing this. Donation for Keane, a big miss as VVD from corners. His presence is massive. That's what, like Grizz said, it was a great point. We usually did get a set piece, or we were able to pen them in from set pieces, even, whereas teams can be confident. But Grizz, just looking at United, don't get me wrong, I think the game, it kind of drifts along. It really does, don't get me wrong, Fernandes hits a really good free kick that's close. He has a chance where Alisson makes a great save. Pogba has a great chance where Alisson makes a great save. I think we do take too many touches, and I think that shows the lack of confidence for me. Confident player just gets out of his feet and smashes it. But I think overall, Grizz, and I'm going to be honest, I think Liverpool were, and I said it at the start, I think Liverpool were poor. I think United had an opportunity there to stand up for themselves and didn't overall, despite one or two good chances that they have. But I think walking away from it, Grizz, I kind of go, take the whole United factor out of it. I just kind of look at that game and go, if a point is a fair result, Chris, I'm going to be honest with you.
Again, it depends how you look at it and which through what eyes you look at it. You could look at it like the league leaders came to Anfield with a lot of informed players against the league champions with two centre midfielders. You could look at that and say, okay, we done well to keep a clean sheet. But then you could look at it and say we're on the back of 3-4 games there where we haven't performed at all. We're expecting a reaction. It's up against the most fiercest rivals who have their chests puffed out, and we should have done more to win the game. So it depends. You can look at it from both angles, Gav. As I said, and I'll stick to it, I think they were very happy with the point. I don't think, again, it was very similar to West Bromwich game where we started off brilliantly, and then we just had possession for the sake of possession. I thought our forwards were very safe in the option making again. And yeah, you're right. The second half was a bit of a training session almost. They were happy. They were surprised probably in that second half how we didn't create or pressurize them more. And that encouraged them to have a go at us. And so they did in that second half. So look, we take the point. Of course we take the point. We look to improve. We try to play our forwards back into form because I don't think Shaqiri is a forward, in my opinion. I don't think he's good enough as a striker or a goal scorer to replace him with Salah. I think Shaqiri should be the creative spark alongside THIAGO, but then you have to have a change of system. So, that's just my opinion on it.
Okay. Sam Tandy says United show no bravery, shows that they haven't scored a goal from open play versus the Big Six. I was a bit shocked by them.
Yeah, but we don't need to be.
No, listen. There's two teams in this game, Grizz, and their actions affect what we're trying to do. I expect them to sit deep, but I didn't expect them to be that deep. And that, I looked at it after 35 minutes. I think they had about 17 or 18 passes in their half, and I was like, okay, I expect them to come in and sit deep, but they grew into it and they tried to take their chances, like most sides do against us. But I still thought coming away from it, they don't have enough. They don't have enough, all things being equal. I don't think they have enough, but we'll have to wait and see. Keith, there's a lot of people going on in the chat here about we're being a bit miserable. I don't think we are. I think, when we try to do these podcasts, we can be high, we can be low, we can be somewhere in between, but we're only trying to say what we see. Sounds like we're on catchphrase now. But we're only trying to say what we've watched, and we try to assess it. And Grizz will say something I won't agree with it. We've disagreed already on this show. Shawnee, the same. Keith, wherever it might be, we all disagree with each other at times. We're only trying to, assess what we've seen and what we've seen in the previous weeks and what we might see going forward. Yeah. We're not here to tell you it's all, sunshine and lollipops. That doesn't work. It's not going to happen here. But Keith,
and we're also not here to sort of, if you disagree with us, that's fine. Many do, many don't. We're not here to convince you to change your opinion or change your mind. We're here Gav's asking us some cold questions, and we have to give our opinion. It's that's all it is. People look into it way too deep.
Yeah. Rames Khalil says realistically, even if we get a centre back, we can win the Premier League or Champions League, because City are starting to kick on, and it might be a bit too late for the Premier League in particular. But City are kicking on, and we're all doom and gloom a bit. But my point of view is that we're halfway through and City are 4 points clear of us. And when you take everything into consideration as what's happened to us, I don't know how we're not comfortable here. I don't know, and that's not me being just away with the fairies, because I'm the first one to jump in and go for someone's throat. Go on, Johnny. Yeah, go ahead.
We're spoiled rotten. The last 2 years, all we've known is these big mad runs where we win almost every week. This season is like our regular Premier League season. We're still in the mix. There's no doubt about it. But I just think it's a big ask for this squad to win the league in the current state that it's in, because there's talk Van Dijk be back for March, April. We'll need to be better between those months. If we get a body in, we'll be definitely thereabouts. We're more than capable. What would worry me is if we were playing well and weren't getting results. But it's clear to see where we can improve. Defensively, since Van Dijk has went out, we haven't really had an issue. I think we've conceded, only City and Southampton may have conceded less than us since Van Dijk has been out. And that's fair. But the front three, we need them to get going. Now, you just have to go off what we know, and hope that they will get going, because, like I said, there's enough credit in the bank to say that these lads will pull us out of a ditch, regardless of what's going on or off the pitch, that they'll get it done. But we definitely need a centre-back in to help. We need a body in. Imagine this time 2 weeks, Matip is back. We have a new centre-half in. Say, right, for example, right, just say Militao. So you could play... We play Spurs away in 2 weeks or so, or City in the first week of February in Anfield. And you can play Militao and Matip. And then you have Henderson, Fabinho, THIAGO, Wijnaldum, all of these bodies to choose from in the middle of the park. We're in a far better position. We're not looking at... We're not a Fabinho injury away from having Reece Williams and Nat Phillips in the back four. But that's the reality at the moment. And there's 18 league games left. We'd be lucky if Matip was to play 12 or 13 of them.
Massively lucky.
Yeah. So we have to be realistic here. We are spoiled based on the premise of the last 2 seasons. We have been unbelievable. There's a lot of football in these players' legs. It's a different season from any other season. We need a bit of help, Gav, and we need to do the work and business when we can do it. And if we don't do it, it's an uphill struggle. And if we don't do it, then you'd have to think that Klopp maybe thinks the same based on his comments. And look, if we are in a fucking race for top 4, this is the reality of our injuries. This is the scope of the season. It's been moved. It's simple as that. There's nothing we can do. It's
no
completely
point crying over it.
No, all we can do is get on the ball. But the thing that annoys me is that this is looking like a potential season of what ifs. Because I believe that getting a decent centre back in the next 2 weeks will make all the difference for us.
Yeah,
it'd be the shot in the arm. That'd be exactly what we need. And with Jota coming back in, it just gives us another option up top, something different. Because he was pulling us out of the ditch at the start of the season. And we can all look in hindsight and say, this shouldn't have happened, that shouldn't have happened. This is the reality at the moment. The bad luck and injuries has caught up on us. And like I said, I think we are where we deserve to be. It's as simple as that. If we don't do the business, I think it's a real uphill struggle to retain the title.
Yeah. Somebody says there we're not 4 points behind. What I mean by saying 4 points is that if City win their games in hand, we'd be 4 points behind. They go a point ahead of United in the league if they win their... I think they've one more game in hand, I think. That's what I mean by that. Poor Scouser Tommy says it's not about runs, but when you can see it's not working, then it's not working. No, it absolutely is not working. And this will happen. I'm critical of... genuinely critical of how we've played over the last 4 games. Not so much today. I think it's a massive game, and these games that happens at times. But at the same time, and I keep saying it, I'm still quite comfortable in where we are. Now the comfort might disappear if we get to the end of January and we haven't brought in a centre half. And listen, talk of Van Dijk being back at the end of March. If Van Dijk is fit at the end of March, you're probably looking at being match fit at the end of April, and the season finishes on the 23rd of May. You know what I mean? So we can't rely on Virgil van Dijk to come back and save our season for us. My comfort levels will drop if we don't bring in a centre back, and not only that, if we don't get getting players into positions they're meant to fucking play, that way, I think that should be our absolute goal now. Start getting players in positions they play and see where it brings us. And that brings me right back to the start when Shawnee said he would have played one of the young lads at centre half. And I think it's a valid point, especially because, in my opinion, United came out and went, we're just going to sit here. We're just going to sit here and hope to grab one. And that's what they done. And they nearly done it. In fairness to them, they nearly done it. But Manchester United travelling to Liverpool, with Liverpool, the problems that they have, I would have... And let's be honest, all the hype around them all week. I seen one article, it might have been TalkSport, that popped up saying that McTominay has turned into Keane and Scholes during the week, which was absolutely unbelievable. So with all this hype around them, they didn't really do the hype justice, in my opinion. But they walk away from Anfield with a decent point, in their opinion.
They had an opportunity there today, right, to go to Liverpool, who are on their arse, who are playing with 2 centre mids, a centre back, forwards who are out of form, and they had a chance to go 6 points clear of us and to take our unbeaten record. Now, that's a psychological thing. They could have absolutely knocked the bollocks out of us today by doing that and could have put us on our arse. They didn't. They didn't try for it. And that's why they're going to fall well short in this title race.
That's
they
fine.
Don't have that mentality.
But look, we went to Old Trafford last season, or was it the season before, where they had injuries. They had players missing. They had and we were flying. We were flying, and they had injuries. They had to make subs.
And McTominay playing centre back that day.
But the point,
we were bad. We were there to be taken.
But
the good team was today. Simple as that.
Yeah.
But surely my concern is not United. I agree they're not going to win the league. I agree they're not going to win the league. I've said that. But we've got better aspirations. We've got high aspirations. We shouldn't be sitting here and saying they didn't come and they didn't prove a point just because we're frustrated and angry with the result or the performance. We need to look at us. We need to look at ourselves. You know, they done whatever they had to do. I don't give a shit what they done. Yeah. Whether they play Bruno or they don't play Bruno, you know, it makes no difference.
None of our business. Because at the end of the day, they won't be there. And this isn't me being salty. That's just the truth. I'm being deadly honest. A good side would have turned us over there today. Leicester would have beaten us today.
Yeah. Louise in the chat isn't happy with all our emotion and all that. And look,
no, hold on. He was in here the other night talking a lot of bollocks. Like,
oh, sorry, I thought it was a
No, he was in here like United done nothing today.
No. And that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm trying to say. They didn't. They're going on like as if they had this big game plan and they had us. The difference, that reminds me of 2 years ago when we played City and we could have gone and stretched our lead and we didn't. And we weren't ready. We weren't mentally ready to do it. Liverpool, you're right. Liverpool have to worry about themselves. We're in a dogfight now. And it's not down to, the fact that Klopp's all of a sudden a bad manager or that Liverpool have suddenly got bad players. It's just the circumstances of the season are catching up. Now, the United fans in the chat can all laugh and say, excuse. And Grizz can say, we went to United 2 years ago and, there's people saying, oh, Rojo was playing that. Rojo's a centre-back. Do you know what I mean? If we had a bleeding working centre-backs playing today, it would have been a different story. We'd midfielders playing. Do you know what I mean? Like, so the situations and circumstances of the season are catching up on us now. We have to reassess. Shawnee said this earlier. You reassess your expectations based on that, but we're still in the mix. We're still 4 points at most off if City win a game in hand. Now, the more we keep dropping points, the further back we go. Look, we can say we'd be down in sixth or whatever if other teams win their games, but if we start winning our games, it doesn't matter what the other teams are doing. We have to get back into that winning mentality and winning mindset of being able to beat these teams. Eder Militao, Shawnee said, get him in. He's a centre back. He's also a right back as well. He frees up, you can rest players, you can do this, you can do that. We don't have that. We have no options at the moment, and that is what's killing us. We spoke earlier, right, and I'm sorry for rambling on here, right, but we spoke earlier about missing Van Dijk's ability to hit the diagonal ball and play through a press at the back. You can see what THIAGO can do in midfield, and we saw glimpses of it today. When he's under pressure, he'll drop his shoulder and he's out and he's pinging balls in. That's one part of it. Again, I'll go back to the machine. When you're missing all the other parts of the machine, it looks broken down. We just need to get a rhythm and a plan back together, and then we worry about ourselves. Doesn't matter what the other teams are doing. Do you know what I mean? We need
Cavani SZN. I don't know what SZN means. Oh really? Okay. Oh, one of them boys, right? Okay. He says we were the better team. He says we were the better team. You weren't the better team. You simply weren't. What you done was you acted like West Brom and you failed to do what West Brom done. And that's the truth. And that's not me being an arsehole to you. That's exactly what you done. You sat back. Okay. You I think we'd 70% possession in the first half, and I think
it's fucking pure air talk. Both teams are shy. This is what I'm saying. This is what I said. This is what I said from the start. I thought Liverpool were poor overall, and I thought United weren't brave enough.
in going and saying, if we are Manchester United, like all your ex-players were telling you during the week, we're Manchester United, we're back, we're this, we're that, McTominay is better than Keane and Scholes combined and all this sort of stuff. You should have shown up at Anfield today and went, we go to it now with you, because we have absolutely faith in our defence. We think we're great in midfield. We have Bruno Fernandes who's hyped to bits, and don't get me wrong, he absolutely has goals in him. And we have Rashford, and we have Cavani, and we have Pogba, and we whatever else. What you done was you turned up and you acted like West Brom, and then after that you didn't do what West Brom done, and that scored a goal. So you weren't the better side. There probably wasn't a better side in the game, to be perfectly honest with you. I don't think either team deserved to win the game. I don't think either team deserved to lose the game, but I don't think you can absolutely come away and go, we were the better side. And I mean that from both sides, by the way. Cavani, S-Z-N. Can we not just spell season now? Sorry, 1 sec. Jonathan, with a super chat, he says, hi lads, I'm hoping it's just a bad run, that when you look back at 2020 in total, we've been inconsistent all year. We absolutely have been. And, you know, I think people make an excuse for this, but we were brilliant last season. And when we won the league, we stopped playing. And that's absolutely fine. For some of the time, we did. This season, we've had issues, and we have to just take them on the chin. That's how it goes. That's how it goes, especially when you're at the top. You have to take it on the chin. But, you know, I think there's a bigger conversation to be had if 4 or 5 weeks down the road, instead of being 4 points off City if they win their game in hands, or 10 or 12 off them, then you kind of go, hold on, this season's absolutely fallen asunder. Especially if Jota comes back and you start getting, and you bring in somebody or whatever it might be, then there's a bigger conversation to be absolutely had. Grizz, you know, we've kind of covered the game. What do you want from Liverpool going forward? What do you want to see? Because we all sit and we all discuss what's best, do this, do that. If I was to give you control of Liverpool, even going into this game against Burnley on Thursday, what do you want to see from us? Not only personnel-wise, but attitude-wise, formation, tactics, trying different things. What do you want to see?
I don't think there's much flexibility in terms of personnel-wise. I still try to pick as many good players as possible, and hope that they get back into form. Obviously, we're desperately missing Jota. We're desperately missing the creativity when he's effing playing of Naby Keita. It seems as though it's glaringly obvious that he doesn't trust he doesn't even want to try Minamino. I mean, you know, or even Ox. You know how they didn't get a time. How they didn't get on that pitch today, I think it's quite damning. It's quite showing. But yeah, there's not much we can do at this stage of the season. Well, there is, I suppose, by a centre back. You know, that's one thing I would do, or I'd force the board do. Or if I'm a manager of Klopp's caliber and standing in the game, you demand it. You say what you do, what you got to do to get me a centre back. And if he's doing that, then they're not backing him, that's a different issue completely, and that's a serious issue. But in terms of selecting and personnel-wise, I think we go again. And I think Keith said, like, we try to play them back into form. There's not much tinkering we can do. Possibly leave Bobby out for Minamino. You know, possibly give Ox a run. That's all we can do at this stage, in my opinion, until Jota gets back into form.
When's he due back?
2 to 3 weeks. 2 to 3 weeks. But it's already been a massive 2 weeks. If you ask me, you know, has this damaged our title aspirations? In my opinion, it has. I'm not going to sit here and tell you something I don't feel. Yeah. No, there's no point. There's no point me being fake and saying, you know, oh no, we're still in this, and I would love it. I would love it. I'd fucking love it if we won the title off the back of everything. But I truly believe it's City's to lose. I'll say again, I'll reiterate, it's not United's. You know, it's out of us and City have got the far better running for the next 5-6 games, which mentally is exhausting when you've got the injuries we've had and the football that we've played, the same players again and again. If we see Man City 5-6 wins in a row now, which I think they're very capable of looking at the fixtures, and we've got the likes of Spurs and West Ham coming up away. You know, I think it's a bit too far for us to get back into this title race, and that's just my opinion. Hope I'm badly wrong, and everyone's saying, "Oh, Grizz, you was an absolute wet wipe in that show where you thought it was all over." I would absolutely stand here and take all the abuse.
Okay, Keith, what do you want to see? Because I don't think there's a hell of a lot of talking points in that game. Bar, the outlook and what team's done. Somebody's saying there, West Brom got a draw. Yeah, they did. But you're going on, were West Brom the better side against Liverpool? Do you think? No. I don't think you can turn up and play like West Brom did. Not score a goal, get a draw, absolutely, but then claim to be the better side at Anfield. I don't agree with you. I absolutely value the fact that you're in that chat and you're having the chats with us, and you're absolutely welcome, because in fairness, the likes of Cavani and there's a couple more United fans in there, they've been nothing but respectful in their comments, so you're absolutely welcome. But you have a heavy right to disagree with me or any of the lads here, and vice versa, but you're absolutely more than welcome, and fair play to you for coming in, giving your views and stuff like that. That's you're spot on, and fair play. Keith, what do you want to see
for the rest of the season?
No, just in the next just to get out of this. What do you want to see to get out of this kind of rut that we're in? Because it is a rut, in my opinion.
Yeah.
What do you want to see? Does it take, like Shawnee says, it needs a centre-back? You need to bring somebody in. Is that what you want to see? And then let's go from there? Or what were you looking at it?
Yeah, ideally, I think we need a centre-back. But is it going to happen? Because we're nearly 3 weeks into January now, and nothing's happened yet. Matip is back in a week. Klopp will just go with that. Now, I think we need it. Even if Matip comes back, I think we need another body back there, because Matip is too unreliable. If we got a body in to the defence, and I know our problems are up top, right? But if we got a body into the defence, as the lads have said, it frees up players to go back into their natural positions. i.e. Henderson straight off the bat. We miss Henderson when he's not in midfield. But if we got a proper walking centre back in there with Matip, the lad said it as well earlier, you can put Fabinho back in midfield, and you're getting that stability and that base in the midfield where you can build a platform to build your attacks from. We don't have that at the moment. How do we get over? How do we change it? I don't know.
Someone says there, Stephen Mack says, just score fucking goals, which is a fair point.
Oh, it is. But how do we do it? Because the worry we have, right, is that we're all saying, Jota. We don't know what state Jota's coming back in. Jota had a hot hand before he got injured. Doesn't mean he comes straight back and starts banging in goals. Do you know what I mean? So we have to temper our expectations as well around what Jota is going to do when he comes back. I just think the front three, there has to be a change to the front three. Even one, I said two earlier, even one. There has to be something else in that squad. If it's Minamino, if he doesn't trust Minamino, if it's Shaqiri going to the right-hand side and Salah going through the middle, there has to be something maybe it's a formation tweak or something. I don't know. I'm a huge Bobby Firmino fan, but it's just not happening for him at the moment. And while I always thought, he's not scoring, his play is good. His play was sloppy today. You give the ball away an awful lot, nothing sticking to him. There just has to be a change in the front three. Shawnee's having a little...
Shawnee, I'm going to play a little game with you, Shawnee. I'm going to see if I can guess what you think we need, right? So I'm going to go easy first. We need to... What are you laughing at? Go on, tell us.
I'm just laughing at some of the chats going in, and then something's at the going into the WhatsApp there. You'll see it yourself.
All right, okay. Shawnee, I'm going to guess that you want a centre-back.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not that I want... Not that I...
No, you feel you need one.
I really need one, yeah. I think it's fair to say it's a really tough ask to get through a season with just one fit centre half, senior centre back. But sorry, I think if we sign a centre half, we give ourselves a big chance. Regardless of what anyone else does, I still think that with a centre half coming in, we can turn it around. It's definitely salvageable.
Oh, you get it too, do you, Gav?
I'm at the reading something there, and I hope I've got it, because I don't know if it can get any better than that. Go on. Go on.
Listen, we have to finish the pod on a laugh and a giggle. Of course we do.
Of course you do.
Go on. Yeah.
Go on, Johnny.
Chris, can you fill me in on what we need to do for the rest of the season?
No, I've said me piece, man.
Oh my God.
Had a drink on Monday.
People are gonna cover now.
Listen, I've been called far worse.
Yeah, by me.
Yeah, I'll take that. Craig David. If I look like Craig David, I'm actually quite proud and privileged.
All right, you see, no matter what happens in football, we're just here to have the crack. But Johnny, you know, centre half, you want to see, like, I'll put it to you, Johnny. I want to see a centre half. I agree with you. Not only because it fixes something now, and it's not being like an impotent child, you know, like where I want. It's something where I feel that you can get to the end of the season and somebody is there. They're 6 months down the line in this squad, but it also frees up what I think is the biggest issue in this side, and it's the midfield. I think the structure and the work rate and the functionality of the midfield, I think, is gone.
I think it's a domino thing, though, Gav.
Yeah, it absolutely is.
100%. It's a complete knock-on effect. And I just want to say something. Cavani's season there is very, very close to getting the Twitter merchant bingo. He's nearly at full house. We've had Midfield, Cross and Inshallah. Just having the word season in your name. He's getting there, slowly but surely. I'd say he has a little team on FIFA Ultimate Team, by the way. And, we're a bit of lucky. Enjoy our little Europa run in the next few weeks.
When's the parade?
So go on, tell me, Shawnee.
I agree with you. I think it's a knock-on effect. I think having healthy centre-backs means we have our best midfielders in midfield. Having our best midfielders in midfield will mean that the front players are getting the service that they need, and Trent and Salah on the right-hand side are able to operate the way that they are. If we don't, it's going to be a slog. It's going to be ups and downs. There's going to be loads of twists in this season. There's still loads of football to play. We're still right in there, and that's all we can ask for. I'll be honest, I think I say it again, where we should be in context of the season, taking everything into consideration. Not that it's an excuse. We've just lost key players at key times, and it's affected results. It's not really rocket science.
No sense of toil to be playing.
No,
winning.
we shouldn't have a sense of time. Look, we won our first league title in 30 years after winning the 7 Champions League title, and we're going 97 points and not winning a league. So we've been to the dance and we know what we have to do. There's no sense of entitlement here. We know now what it takes to win a Premier League, and we're not doing enough at the moment. Regardless of what, we're not doing enough at the moment for various reasons. But it's still wide open. I still think that there's 2 or 3 teams who can win this title.
I do as well, and I think it could be more than that, because although there's a lot being made of our form correctly, in my opinion, there's been a lot being made of City's form, which is probably correct as well, because they've gone on a little bit of a run. But, you know, at the end of the day, you know, City will end up just over 2 points a game if they win their games in hand, which is not title winning form. So it just shows how, I don't think how bad the league is. I think it's very competitive because of issues that are happening within clubs, and anything can happen. And I've said it a couple of weeks ago, if Spurs or United or anybody could come out of the pack and just go and just stay there till the end, and it could be another kind of Leicester job. It could absolutely be that, but we'd have to wait and see. On the Liverpool side, for me, I've said already, I think we definitely need to bring a player in. I think we need to get players in positions that they actually play. And if players are upsetting people and moaning and taking too many touches, and I'll take them out of the side. Just take them out, because, like, are you telling me that do we want to start, and this is a mad comparison, but do we want to start getting to the stage where players pick themselves, and, you know, and like, you know, where Messi runs Barcelona job, players start picking themselves no matter what they're doing? If they're not playing well, take them out. Just take them out. And if they give out, go, listen, I'm going to put a chart up on the wall here to show you exactly what you've done over the last 6 games. It's not good enough. We have standards, and if it's not fitting, and that could be any player, I'm not going to single anybody out. But if that happens, that's absolutely fine. You know what I mean? But I still think getting midfielders in midfield instead of centre back, and also getting somebody to just be clipping them forwards around the ear, going, start playing or I'll play. I think that'll be a massive issue for Liverpool as the season goes on. Lads, before we finish up, and before we get man of the match, Manscaped are of course the sponsor of this show. They are the sponsor when it comes to Sundays. Shawnee, the weed whacker, you had a great time with the Lawnmower 3.0. The weed whacker is as impressive in my opinion.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the same tack that I went with for the lawnmower. It's one of these things in life that I never knew I needed until I had it.
Yeah.
And that's all I can say. It made a difference. Now, I'm not that old, as you can tell, but the old nasal hairs.
It's tiny.
Yeah, the old nasal hairs were getting a bit wild.
It's supposed to be, Gav. It's for your nostrils.
No, the actual unit, like, you know what I mean?
But one thing
Like,
I will say,
I'm not saying you plug it into a car battery, like, you know what I mean? I'm just saying it's very neat and tidy.
But it does the job. It charges as well on the other dock as well, which is great.
Which is gift, isn't it?
And again, the presentation, which I can't believe at Manscaped, is actually unbelievable. And I've had a few people coming to me saying, what's the story with that Manscaped gear? What's it like? And I'm saying, you know what, just give it a belt and see what it's like. And every single one of them come back to me saying the same thing. Jesus, it's unbelievable. It's a game changer. I definitely recommend, because, again, like I said, I didn't know I needed it until I had it. And now I won't go without it.
Yeah, no. Game change is the best way of describing it. Shawnee used that's it.
It is that, isn't it? Because, like, in fairness, like, you know, the lawnmower stuff we were promoting before Christmas, and in fairness, we got feedback from Manscaped to say, listen, the reaction to your shows and the LFC DT promotion was really, really good. And, you know, that comes in a lovely fancy leather bag and you get all the bits and pieces in it. Yeah. This one, like I said, it's you know, probably stupid to say it's really small, but it's literally tiny. It comes with the little brush to clean it. It comes with the lid. It comes with a little pouch for it to go in. And, you know, it's, like you said, it just plugs in the end here and it goes into any USB. So, you know, your phone charger you stick in the wall, you can just plug that in there and she'll charge away. She obviously fits the lid and the plug that comes with the Lawnmower 3.0 as well. But look, it's 20% off, it's free shipping. And I have to say, like, my wife is looking going, what the fuck is going on here? Every time I look, there's more gear. And you're just, you know, you come out of the shower and you're like, you just whipping out all this stuff. All I can hear is buzzing every time you come out of the shower. So she's like, what's going on? And I was like, oh, I got this. And she's like, what's going on?
Is it waterproof?
Yeah. This is grand, yeah. That's waterproof as well, yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah. So absolutely check it out. Check out manscaped.com. 20% off with free shipping. And it's like, in fairness, I've used both of the things we've got regularly over the last 6-7 weeks or whatever it might be, and I have to say they're absolutely top notch. They last ages when you charge them up, and literally they're just in a little leather bag sitting there on the locker beside the bed or wherever you might want it, and they're top drawer. Keith, you're a massive fan, aren't you?
Oh yeah, I love it. Love the gear. It's great. As you said, it is. I know what you mean. It's compact. You know what I mean? It's small. Obviously, to get up your hooter, it has to be small. But
I thought it was normal. I thought it was natural. We're like, I didn't understand Jeff's comment, but okay.
But the whole, you know, it's you know.
I meant the whole unit, Grizz. I meant the whole unit. Yeah,
doesn't take up much space. Does what it says on the tin.
On the tin.
It's a great bit of kit. Now I really highly recommend the Manscaped gear for anyone that's into it. You can't beat it. Do you know what I mean? Like the lawnmower top notch, has a light on it and all, can't miss a thing. Great stuff. And then the nose, the weed whack, I do the nose, does your ears as well if you're at that stage. I'm not yet, but Grizz might be.
Manscaped is a footballer, I'd beat THIAGO.
Yeah. Or Ronaldo. Ronaldo, it's fairly well scaped, I'd say. But look, go and check them out, manscaped.com. Use LFC DT at checkout. Get 20% off, free shipping. And trust me, this stuff will arrive and you'll kind of go, oh, I'll get it. And when, like Shawnee said, you get it. And then you get it and go, oh, I'm never getting rid of this. You know, I want it on charge all the time. So it's absolutely bang on. Lads, before we go, man of the match, Keith.
It's between Fabinho, THIAGO and Alisson for me. I'm going to go with Fabinho.
Okay, no worries. Grizz, man of the match.
Fabinho as well.
Shawnee.
I'm going to go against the grain here completely, seeing as there's a few lads in the chat.
Anthony Martial.
No, I'm going to give United their flowers today, and I'm going to say that Luke Shaw was absolutely exceptional today.
Yeah.
It was a performance I actually enjoyed watching from
He
a
was
defensive standpoint.
very fair.
He might as well be.
Thought he was very good. I thought he did very well against Salah, and he was excellent going forward. So I thought Luke Shaw was
They
brilliant.
could have had Andy Shaw playing left full, and he would
Nah,
have
don't
got
agree,
much joy.
Keith.
Salah was garbage.
No,
I thought Shaw was good.
I think he's been very good. He got a lot of unnecessary stick. The lad gets a bit of stick about his body
Jose
type.
Mourinho tried to ruin his career.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, he gets a bit of stick about his body type and that, and he had a horrific injury. And to be honest with you, it's great to see him come back. It's good to see a young lad coming back in and around. If I have to pick man of the match from a Liverpool standpoint, I think it's got to be Alisson, because if Alisson's not there today, we lose, and then it's fucking cataclysmic, nuclear, absolute Holocaust stuff going on.
Yeah, absolutely mental.
Yeah, Alisson as always, and one of the main reasons why I believe that we'll be in it till the very end is because we do have Alisson, and I think he is that good. He's as good as a Schmeichel. He's that big of a presence for us.
Yeah, I think it's fair. I think Fabinho and Alisson are both great shouts. I think Luke Shaw is a good shout for United, in fairness. He does do well. He gets forward well. He's a very good player, Luke Shaw.
I like him.
I think when he's fit, and he's a very good player. Like, everyone wanted him when he was leaving Southampton at 30 million. Everyone wanted him. I think Jose Mourinho had a really good go at ending his United career, but he's come back stronger, and he's keeping Tellez out of the side at times, and he's very highly rated. So fair play to him. And it was a decent performance from Luke Shaw. But I think I'm not going to pick between Fabinho and Alisson. I think they're both excellent today. Just looking forward, lads. Of course, this is the Sunday show. Tomorrow is the forum. I'm on the forum tomorrow. I'm on with Phil, and I'm on with Andy, and I'm on with somebody that you haven't seen in a little while, but you'll like it when you see him. We'll have a midweek fix coming during the week. I don't know if Grizz is going to sort out a carnage. We will have a scout report. We will have a Friday forecast come Friday, but there's loads of stuff going on. So if you're on your way out of this chat, absolutely hit the like button on the way out. If you're not subscribed, try subscribing. Even if you're a United fan, you might enjoy some of the stuff we do, because it is Liverpool based, but there is Premier League stuff and other stuff around that as well. Keith, it's been an absolute pleasure as always. Thanks a million for joining me.
No worries. Pleasure as always.
Good stuff. Shawnee, great to see you. We haven't seen your tree, but look, we can't have everything in life.
I poured it down. And I just want to say something as well. Kieran Thorne, fair play to you, mate. That's an unbelievable gesture. Very, very generous. And you're always very generous in the chat. Yeah. So fair play to you, and you deserve a massive round of applause. It's a lovely gesture, and all the best, mate. That's unbelievable.
Yeah, and I'll reiterate again. When this campaign started for young Keane, off the back of one of the lads that works for us, known as Father, we wanted to just get it out on our podcast and put it on the screen and put it in our show descriptions and on our social media. And it was Kieran Thorne that came to me and said, "Look, I know you're busy, but would you do this?" He said, "I'll put £500 up straight away, and we can try get some prizes together." And there's a long list now of people that have helped us out with prizes, donated stuff, both physically, by sending me stuff, or just basically saying, "Listen, just put that prize up and we will absolutely look after it and reimburse somebody for a prize once it happens." So we're literally at the final stages of trying to plan this, show you what's on offer, show you what you will be getting for entering, and obviously logistically trying to sort it out. I think football prizes are going to help us out with that. But Kieran Thorne is the architect of this. It's us that have the reach and stuff like that, but genuinely it's Kieran Thorne's baby, I suppose, and he's put that money up, and and he's the star of the show tonight for me. And anyway,
Man of the
Grizz,
match.
yeah, man of the match. Fuck Luke Shaw. Grizz, it's been an absolute pleasure. You have been liking to Craig David, but don't mind them. If they say anything about you, I'll go throw rubbish in their garden if you want me to.
And if Craig David is watching, who's now being compared to Grizz, apologies.
yeah. Be down Brisbane Road, he will tomorrow with his boots.
Now I want to echo what Shawnee said and about Kieran, and I think that's an absolute outstanding effort for him. What an absolute gentleman, and just want to thank him, and God bless him, man. Absolute brilliant stuff.
Good stuff. Listen, that has been the Fatback 4 for this Sunday night. Yeah, Liverpool are drawn with Manchester United. Another thanks to the Man United fans that were in there tonight, because you coming along and having that chat store up stuff for us to chat about. So fair play to you as well. That's it. We're out of here, and we'll show her back tomorrow. Over and out.